And we're rolling. Hey, welcome everybody to the Sketch Zone podcast. It's the wacky morning. It's the wacky morning show.
Try again.
I know. I hate it when I'm in a roll and then my mouth goes on strike.
English starts to stop. Just go in
Carlos.
Carlos
Spanish.
Gomez. Just go Spanish. Just like when you mess up, just go right into it.
Yeah. Scoop, tootie poop, poop, scooty poop. Yeah, that's my new hip hop magic lyrics. Speaking of magic lyrics, hello, Charlie B. Williams III.
What's up, nation? Missed you last week. I'm back. I'm good to be here. Let's go.
Yes, and as always, Mr. Sketchbook Jack himself, Jack Kasperzak.
I am here. Thank you very much.
So, hey, if you're watching live on the chat room, go ahead and... Oh, hey, hi. Just like Noel. She's here. Hello. But if you're trying to get a hold of us and we're not live, you can go ahead and... that's right. Use the Sketch Zone hotline. 408-SKETCH-8. 408-753-8248. International callers, please use 011-408-753-8248. You can send us text messages and or leave a voicemail. If you leave a voicemail, we will happily play it on the live on the show.
Yes.
Now that that's done, hey Steve, what's going on, buddy?
What up, Steve?
Now that that's done, let's go ahead and get into...
Oh man, I'm sorry.
Oh,
I didn't have the window up.
Let's go to the canvas here and let's get started. I believe every day's a good day when you paint.
Trying to be chatty in the chat room.
All right. So last week we had chosen sloth in a hideout. Shiloh is here.
Oh, Mr. Shiloh. What up?
Speaking of which, we're looking at Shiloh.
I love that thing. So
he is the chosen one. Look at the bling on his neck.
Can I point something out real quick? I think Shiloh is I don't know who upset him, but he has been crushing art lately. If you aren't following Shiloh Illustration on Instagram, do yourself a favor, go follow him. Shiloh, holy cow, man.
Good job.
I like the,
he's just been like you're like okay, he's at peak Shiloh.
He's at peak,
like, and he's not. I know, it does seem so long ago. So we got like I said, a sloth, the chosen sloth in a hideout.
The chosen one.
And as always, he's got these really cool little supporting characters. Little bird is supplementing the fact that this is the chosen one. Yeah,
he's the chosen one because the bling.
Wonderful. Xylo.
This sloth is bringing back gold like it's popular again. You know,
bringing goldies back. Yeah. All right. Let's see who else is here. I went straight up violence.
This looks.
What's going on with you?
This looks like a thing from like a video game, like a side scroller. What was that? Double Dragon.
Hey, Long Arm. Hey, Deftones. Let us know your name and we will give you a shout out. And even where you're from.
Let me know.
We know Noel is from, the happy house down the street. She's not right in the head.
Here we go.
She uses all of her vacation days to watch Sketch Zone. So I think, did I put it in here? I must have been watching like some gangster movies. Hey, Vancouver, awesome.
Vancouver.
And it was Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo. My mother told me to pick you, and so this guy with the bat's about to go to work, and the other dude is not having a good day.
It's a little Walking Deadish. That's scary.
That's true.
First time listener,
but also former guest.
Gonna make us play guess.
What's up, Tony? I'm guessing Jeff Coates, possibly. Because who else have we had
from Vancouver?
DeCosta.
No, that was somebody else. That's Long Arm.
Yo, is that DeCosta? No, it would have said DeCosta. It would have been Deftone.
Long Arm's from Vancouver.
Vancouver.
No, not Jeff. Okay.
You know, we had a lot of people on the show now. It's starting to get.
No,
this is episode 156.
Yo, I'm only going
that
back.
Girl who drew, the graphic artist. Oh, Angie, what's up, girl?
Ah.
Oh, wait a minute. We even drank wine together.
Yo, this is getting interesting. Yo, Carlos, who's this?
I know. Wait a minute. Together?
Guest on the show or guest with?
Yeah.
I know. I don't even know. You know how many people I've drank wine with? I don't remember her name.
Yeah, he lives in wine country.
I know. You know how many strangers I've broken bottles with? So let's take a look. Louis Drawings. What's going on, Louis Drawings? I like this one.
Louis?
It looks like he's got a little watercolor. Yeah. Sketch watercolor. I like the traditional ones. Every time you guys, let me be a little more specific. Every time someone does a traditional one, I want to get more into doing some sort of traditional. So people actually want to be seen in public with Carlos. No, it's not that they want to be seen. It's that I sneak up on them
and then force them to drink. See, you took me off on wine tasting. You and your girlfriend. Yo, I can't focus till I figure out who this is.
I know. So anyway, I was talking to Tiffany Mang, who was our guest last time, weeks ago, and Tiffany was telling me to Angie Coates. Ta-da! And Tiffany was telling me to just go and try, and I was like, yeah, I know, but it's a lot of money if I ruin it. She's like, well, stop being scared and just go do it. And so whenever people like Louis Drawings does something like this, I want to go give it a go again, but maybe later. I like this one though. Very,
I like this one too.
Feng shui. So good job.
Shui.
This is really good. Iggy Doodles. It's a sloth got picked out by a comedian.
Is that Chuck E. Cheese?
Yes, it is.
Looks like it, huh?
Chuck E. Cheese.
Yo, this is like.
Hold up. Do you know what? I just learned this the other day. Do you know what Chuck E. Cheese's middle name is? The E.
Edward.
No, it's the dumbest thing you'll ever hear in your life.
Eggs.
Entertainment.
Oh, Jesus.
Entertainment cheese. How did you know that, man?
He killed this one. It's so good.
Yeah.
You know what this is?
Funny is he put
this
he
from
carousel, but it's kind of.
Wait, what happened?
Well,
oh my gosh, what's happening there? Why does it?
Oh, there he is. That's
right. You know what this is?
Because he's crying because they're teasing him.
Yeah, but this is a weird rendition of Nutty Professor.
Yeah, yeah, right. When Dave Chappelle was
the first date. Yeah, the first date. You know.
Yeah.
Sitting there crying.
Yeah, I like this one. Very
good one.
Yeah, good. I like the. It's got a good.
I want to take a look at Iggy Doodles real quick. Oh, look at you, Iggy Doodles! You could have very easily been artist inspiration.
You just messed it up. You could have just showed us. You artist.
Silly rabbit. Nice. So Iggy be crushing. I thought it was Chuck E. Cheese. It is.
It is
Chuck Entertainment Cheese. It's his government name.
Yo,
Jack. Only sketchbook Jack.
I laughed so hard at this one. Like, really? Like, really?
I don't even know where it came from. I just.
Yo, really?
I don't know what
Jack. A logo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I envision you started with the face and got to the arms. It's like, yo, I like this.
Yeah, I was starting to play symmetrical, and then I was like, let's go logo style, because I wanted to make them like levitating.
I like it. That's pretty good.
I don't know why this made me laugh, because I was just like,
Miss Geeky, I like the logo idea. Get out of here.
Shiloh likes it.
Thank you, everyone, for participating, which means let's go ahead and pick a new one.
Alrighty.
I think the chat room might have.
Yes, what's up?
Us.
Oh, okay. We're gonna go
chat room. What do you guys want to see? And there's going to be a little bit of a delay.
There's some fire ones will be not on air.
The first
pick three categories.
The first 3 categories you guys choose. We have adjective, animal. Do you guys know about Sloth's pooping situation? No, I can't say that I.
Poopity scoop, poop, poopity scoop,
poopity scoop, poop, scooty poop. It's a complicated one. All right, so we got location. You know, Noel, you would.
Okay, so chat, you got to all agree.
More.
Is location it? I need 2 more people to chime in. One location. You have to all agree. The interactive
location.
Chat. Are we good? No one else is going to type? Really? You're going to go silent on me?
I know. Animal.
Okay. Location, animal.
Style.
All right.
Is that it?
How about retro chickens?
Yes! On some scaffolding.
Because that's super easy to draw.
As Carrillo said, action.
All right, let's see. I'll lock all these down. I'll unlock action. How about a combination of a chicken, a retro chicken, leveling some scaffolding?
That's super complicated.
No.
I know. I was kidding.
Don't
be a baby, Carlos. How dare you?
Wow.
All right.
Just do a refresh on the action.
I think a retro chicken's good. Let's just re-roll it.
So we're dropping location?
We're either going to do a retro chicken phoning or a retro chicken in a pantry, which could be hilarious.
I like a retro chicken in a pantry. That seems funny.
Retro chicken in a pantry is what we're doing. I'm going to do this just to make the graphic.
BG's in their tight pants.
I'm in on some tight pants BG's.
They helped their success. They got them to get
what you can do. It was the style at the time. Oh, that makes sense.
We could just do a retro chicken and leave it at that.
We do a retro chicken. I would say I don't know what the adjective would be. If you dropped like location and just add adjective.
And do what?
Just roll the adjective and see what happens.
A jealous chicken, a jealous retro chicken in a pantry.
Nah.
That's not saying drop the location.
Yeah, no, we're gonna do, what was it? Retro chicken. I have the graphic over here somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Retro chicken in a pantry.
Let's go over to the canvas here and let's get started. I believe every day's a good day when you paint.
I'm gonna randomly do that this week because all the ones we did off air were fire.
Oh, just like randomly press one?
Just see what happens. Watch it be good again.
Yeah.
It was twice in a row. I did one and you did one. Those were really good. That one you did. One of them.
I don't remember.
So I was watching YouTube.
You screenshotted it.
Just absolutely randomly, this knucklehead Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Tekashi 6ix9ine.
I don't even care.
Is that the guy who invented Bitcoin?
No. Yeah. If Bitcoin were Rainbow Bright Teeth, yes, then he.
Oh.
No, this dude is picking a fight. Now he's picking a fight with with Ludacris.
Over what?
He's just
is he picking a fight or is he trolling for views?
He's trolling.
Half of that stuff don't really be real. He be doing, but he be passionate.
You better watch out. He's talking a lot of smack about folks in Chicago, and there's folks in Chicago who basically came out and publicly said he's a dead man walking.
Yeah, I don't know. They did the same thing in LA. They did the same thing in Atlanta. They did the same thing in every other spot.
Yeah,
it's just people.
But like Chief Keef and a lot of people that he runs with. Let me tell you, I'm gonna fill you guys in on Chief Keef. Chief Keef had a record deal and kind of got released from his record deal because he wouldn't stop gang banging. So I wouldn't think that he's one of the guys that you would want to upset. Especially rolling around in Chicago, where
he's not even in Chicago anymore. He's not allowed to come back. So,
okay, well, he's already digging holes. He's already digging holes for bodies.
Yeah, but they cleaned that one up too. See, that's what I'm saying. I think all these rappers, the regular people that he's trolling, I'm all for. You should stop or whatever, because those are the guys that are like will do something. But all the people in show business now, yeah, I don't believe it.
But then you have to remember
with the younger guys. Yeah,
you have to remember that Tekashi is rolling with 50 Cent.
Yeah,
50 Cent is the one who signed him, and 50 Cent doesn't really care who you are.
He's not signed by 50 Cent though. That was a troll too. They just did a video last week together, but he's not signed with him. This is the crazy part when you get into him. His label, as well as we get into music though, but his label that signed him, as well as like other people like Trippie Redd, some of these younger artists, like this label, they're both signed to the same label, but nobody really knows about it because the label doesn't talk about it. Like, it's like this behind.
They want to make the money. They don't want to make they don't want to.
Yeah, it's like a different type of label. He's not signed to like a major, but the label clearly has a bunch of money, and like it's like you really have to go and look in the credits to figure out what that label's even called, and then you don't know much about it. It's weird. So then they appear they appear to be indie. They appear to be like out by themselves, but like they're not.
But they're not.
It's
really.
So interesting. Like there's a couple different documentaries on these on talking about like these new form of labels that like have like whole marketing, more like really well thought out marketing departments and all this other stuff that like are like capitalizing on how things go viral and how these artists move around and kind of give them free reign because they feel like it just comes back and pays for them. And now he's starting to get like people like 50, people like Nicki Minaj, all those guys do one song with them, it'll go and get 30 million views. And
yeah,
it's interesting, right? Like, so then it's like a level of like, what is that? I guess trickery, if you will, you know, on the
bullshittery
part. Yeah, bullshittery on the label part. Yeah.
Which is kind of a sign of the times.
Which no one talks about, right? No one asked them about it. No one talks about it, right? So yeah, it is like a sign. It's like
it's a sign of the time because look at and we're not gonna go all the way down this, but like when the president is calling other leaders of other nations things like Rocket Man and goofiness like that.
Yeah.
And it gets a bunch of clicks and a bunch of eyeballs, which is the name of the game these days.
Yeah.
Like how could you not have kids following that if you're proving that if you just say something out of pocket, you're basically you're trolling basically.
Mm-hmm.
And like for example, just this week, I guess the president didn't really have that much that much attention, and so he picked a fight with Google to basically say
off of some stupid stuff. Yeah,
to basically say, yeah. He basically said that Google is
promoting
that they're adjusting their algorithm, their search algorithm, to favor
the left, right?
leftist views, and to basically talk smack about him. But what's funny, super completely. Hey, Dave Atsy, chat zone.
Whoa.
Wait,
Dave. Wait a minute.
He nicknamed the chat zone.
Hi, Dave.
I forgot that exists.
Chat zone.
So what was I saying? So they're adjusting the algorithm. Side note, do a Google image search, type in Google, type in idiot, and then click on images and see what
does that still work?
That's a huge troll.
But that's not Google doing that.
I don't think so.
No, that's like it's people. It's like sort of who figured out the algorithm. It's the same thing that they did with Rick Santorum and like a whole bunch of other people. Like they find out the kind of the key to the algorithm, and then they're utilizing it to basically make that appear first.
Noel said that she did it, and there's Carlos. How dare you? So yeah, so when I was watching that, or watching him going crazy on Google, and then it brought up thoughts of Charlie Hebdo, which is the publishing company or the newspaper company, I believe, in France.
Yeah, France.
That was shot up because they published a picture of Muhammad, and things like that. So I wanted to have a conversation with you guys, and even some of the folks in the chat. Does politics affect artists, artwork, stuff like that?
Of course. I mean, I think the obvious answer is there's a whole industry based around political art. I think there's several categories. There's art that is specifically political. I mean, everything from editorial cartoons,
right,
to actual political propaganda and political advertising. But then obviously there's depending on the political climate and how people are feeling, I think it greatly influences art, positively and negatively. Obviously, if there's a cause or an agenda that they want to push, I think that subconsciously works its way into people's art. But I also think there's a fear factor to it as well, that people, depending on the political climate, people shy away from certain sorts of forms of art, or are afraid to do things, or
right.
Yeah, I think absolutely.
So, like, for example, if anyone speaks badly about the president, he does not hesitate to go in on people. And I kind of understand that. Like, imagine being the most watched person on the planet, and you continue to do goofy things to continue to get those eyes. And I don't know if all this bad attention, if someone like that, and trying to get away from specifically the president and looking more towards the egotistical folks out there, and maybe even us in a smaller scale, like attention. Like if I stop drawing like myself because I'm only getting 25 likes on Instagram, and I take a look at, say, And Shiloh, I'm sorry if I'm embarrassing you, but Shiloh gets hundreds of likes,
millions.
Yeah, he and deservedly so. I mean, dude is killing it. So is Dave. So is Tony. All those guys that are on the chat room. And even Jeff and Angie Coates, those guys too. All of those guys are phenomenal artists. So beginning artists, what do you say to someone that looks at them and is looking for that attention? Is it a weird thing? Shiloh gets thousands upon thousands. Thank you, Tony. Earlier, Tony said we need to challenge Trump to do the hashtag Kiki challenge.
Don't want to see that.
So anyway, so Dave says, I try to keep religion and politics out of my artwork to keep my client base potentially larger. Yeah, that makes sense. But Dave, if you want to chime in on this, like, for artists that are trying to work at getting more and more likes, so basically we're looking for more attention, and they might have a tendency to copy someone else that's getting a lot of likes. Like, I know I've done this. I know I've gone and I've drawn some, like the that draw this in your style challenge.
Yes.
I know I've done a couple of those. And I do try to draw, like I did Shiloh's, for example. I did Shiloh's, and I liked it a lot, but it was very similar to Shiloh's. And I've even done that with Rodgon the artist, and there's been a couple of them that I've done. And basically, is it a good thing or bad thing to kind of copy those guys just to get the double taps?
Just to get the taps? Probably it's not real healthy. I mean,
there's an entire like sub industry and like fan base are purely based around fan art, and that's effectively the same concept, right? It's
technically that's Artist Alley, right?
Yeah, taking
in a larger sense.
That's
in a larger sense. Not everyone, but
that's a really good point.
Let's say 80%.
Taking well-known things that have a lot of attention behind them, doing your take on them, or not even your take, just their take, but just doing it. And some people do really well with this.
The whole notion of commissions, right? That's really what happens with most commissions. Besides the good ones and the artists, they're like, "Hey, could you draw me your character?" No, most of them like, "Yo, I'd love for you to draw me Spider-Man, upside down kissing Spider-Woman, like whatever they want, or Mickey Mouse, or like the whole thing back in the day, like Tweety Bird and Mickey Mouse, and tattoo artists is doing all the stereotypical like cartoon art, good or bad, for random people who walk in and want a tattoo, knowing that that's easy money, It's like, is that cool? Definitely over the years, I didn't see it at first, early college, going to all those cons, but now I kind of get reminded of it every time I go to a comic book convention, and I actively seek out stuff because now I'm looking for people to try to find for the show and stuff like that. It's a nice time to have a lot of artists in one spot. So we look just like we do artist inspiration. We look for the rare ones, right? You look for the rare, and I'm walking past all the artists that are trying to draw like J. Scott Campbell, even though it's 2018. It's like more.
But
I don't know if I have that much time left.
or Joe Mad, or all the greats. When like at this point now, all those guys are amazing. But it's like, well, what can you do? Because obviously you can draw, so take that leap of faith a little bit. But it's easier said than done, right? But I don't know. I guess you could say as 3D artists and stuff like that, people tend to go through the trends, you know, being half in the real time industry and half in the motion industry a little bit too. You see the trends in motion design, and you see the trends in commercials. You know what's really cool in like title sequences and stuff like that, or somebody will break the mode and do an amazing sequence like what was last year's our buddy Odell shout out to Odell. He just got engaged.
He just got engaged. Yeah, he did.
So shout out to the 3D boss check him out on Instagram. But I think he helped worked on that Black Sails intro. And then that came out first. And then they did the same thing for the end title sequences for which Marvel movie? I think it was Captain America Civil War, I believe. Maybe at the end, it's the same whole like marble, statue of the characters, like slow pan in a dark room with light.
Yeah. I remember that.
And then somebody else did it again for another like intro sequence to another TV show or something. So it's like that was definitely done for a look.
Well, that's been happening for. They're doing that on what they've been doing it on Westworld.
They had one. They had one on Westworld, but I think to Westworld's credit, their intro titles were a little bit different than it being one big statue. That was the like really close up of not the piano. It was a couple different things.
There's like
the machine that puts the ligaments together for the different robots.
Yeah, that's what it was. So I can see inspired by, but it seems like it's a little different though, because then you have that notion. So like I think so. Point being on all that is like it's not just with 2D artists. I think it's with art. So we can I like how we can see similarities with art. We talked about music at the top of the show, and how people now are doing different things. And Carlos, you can talk about this too. Like people used to do things to try to get that same spark to get on. We had late 90s, early 2000s, all the boy bands and stuff like that with the formula. Almost now we look back and think it's comical. I don't think any of the comics are really talk about it as much back then, but how the stereotypical different parts of the group, the Spice Girls and all the boy bands and all stuff. So you can see it in a lot of different things where people are using, a formula that's not technically maybe they didn't create to try to spark it big or spark it some success for them instead of being original.
So I'm gonna jump in the chat real quick. Noel makes a really good point, believe it or not. She says, well, at the end of the day, you like that. Oh boy, she just ruined it.
Well, the thing about you know a lot about boy bands.
She said, "Well, at the end of the day, don't you want to be known or remembered for your own style, or do you want to be known, for being a really good copier?"
But then Dave talks about how he used fan art to get his established, and it's a good point. I think a lot of people. You do use it to become known.
For sure,
You use it as your step up, as your leverage, and like I said in the chat, it's almost a form of apprenticeship. In a way, it's kind of common. Even when you go to school, it's like you learn to copy, you learn other styles, you learn from the masters first, and then you slowly branch off and start to figure out your own way. So I mean, it's certainly not uncommon.
No, it's not. It's actually norm. You can say it's the norm, right?
Yeah. Sketch Zone 5.
I always felt though, even with that, even in school, right? You do it for your sketchbook, right? You're learning. I always felt weird, and maybe this is the hump that artists gets over when they do decide to table or decide to go somewhere because they don't have enough of their own. So they start doing fan art and all the other stuff. So it comes out harmless, but then it always is a weird area. And I think I've stumped a couple my teachers back in the day when I asked them, "Yo, can you sell those?" you know, because it's quick to
infringing on
they're quick to say that, like, yo, you can't do that. We'll fail you for plagiarism. We'll kick you out of school eventually. Whatever. It's always the like scary thing in art school if you get tagged as a plagiarist. But yet, you're selling buttons and everything else at the weekend. And teachers are like, yo, yeah, this is a great experience. Go table at, you know, your local Comic-Con, whatever. Which is fine. I'm not saying not to. I'm not discouraging anybody that does. I just always felt weird and didn't know how that worked, or just thought it was like a knotted gray area. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Even professional comic art, even professionals not, because like, yo, you at a Comic-Con, Marvel's coming back, walking through. I've seen people from those booths and stuff like that. I've seen dudes get cards and get business cards based on all their stuff, and half of their stuff is fan art or whatever. So obviously it works, because sometimes you have to go, you know, as a comic book artist, like one of your dreams would be to draw for a Spider-Man comic book, you know, or whatever. It happens, you know. We talked about Scotty Young a couple of weeks ago. You know, he started out like that, got to do his own, albeit in his very, very own style with the whole Spider Clan, all that good stuff. It was a totally Scotty Young book, but he did other stuff and stuff like that too. So, you know, it's always been weird and interesting to me at the same time. And yeah, so that's an interesting thing. It always puzzles me.
One of the things that I do, and I know that we've talked about this before, but it's kind of piggybacking off of hold on. Scribbler says, whoa, I was walking around with my phone in my pocket, and all of a sudden I hear Carlos's voice.
Yeah, that's our new algorithm, Scribbler.
My phone butt dialed this show on YouTube.
Scotty Young is the man, Dave.
I'm stalking you, Javier. You know, I'm gonna go up to here to where Shiloh says, wouldn't you just take aspects of people's style because you like their art rather than just for likes? I'm gonna build off of that. I draw Shiloh's artwork.
Here we go.
I've even drawn drawn Dave's stuff. Just not
yo, shots fired.
Just it right. Just to learn how they do it, or get used to how they draw.
Yeah.
To learn something. But it's very rare. It's very rare to see that I actually share something that I drew that looks like anything that those guys did. Right. So for me, it's more of a, I have a little bit of problems when I sit down and I have nothing to focus on when it comes to drawing. I don't know how to just sit here and draw circles until I think to myself, oh, I'm going to go and draw a retro chicken in a pantry, you know.
Let's do it.
And Javier is another one who's like, I like his proportions, and I like how he moves the camera in an animator mentality.
Likes how you build.
I really like how he does that. So I try to, even if it's not a completed thing, I try to get like the proportions and the shapes down, and then I'll either delete that or oh, hey, Corey Stisser's here.
Good question. Just coming in firing on all cylinders. Good.
I know.
We'll ask that question next.
So yeah, anyway, that's basically why I copy other people's stuff, is just to try to draw it that way. And Carlos, I like your proportions.
And she caught the joke. She caught it. No one else said anything. That's awesome. Thank you. I said it in my breath. I was like, you like his proportions? I was like, okay, cool. I said, you like how he's built? And I said it under my breath.
This has nothing to do with, look at Noel.
This chat is awesome.
From now on, all the show titles are going to be Noel, how dare you?
Dude, I think Noel's going to have a show title in here somewhere. I think the last one comment killed me because she called you a peeper. He's a peeper. Careful, he's a peeper.
So,
yeah, Corey asks a good question about
a good one.
Doing similar animation or studies or copying styles, and I think that's actually a really good point. I think if you're working in a studio, I mean, often that is your job, is to copy an established style. You know, you have an art director or a model sheet or whatever, and your job is to literally reproduce that in various poses or various circumstances. So there's a very valid and valuable skill in learning to copy another style, and in fact, that's literally what they pay you for. So I think on a professional level, it's not only common, it's kind of the standard in a studio world.
And we've talked about this before too, Jack. Right? We've separated production artists from the artists at home.
Yeah, I mean, and there of course is a major difference. I mean, production artists, you're doing what fits the style of the project you're working on and the studio needs. So there isn't that much room for your own style or for your own. Obviously, if you're in a position of power or you're some sort of director, creative, absolute power. You're the art director. Obviously, that's their job, is to develop and create the style, and then therefore disseminate upon their minions, and everybody has to duplicate it. But yeah, it does happen in animation as well. It's like, often if you're not trying to match, particularly if you're doing a character, across a film or a TV show, it's like you have to make the character still feel like the character, and so you're picking up on things that other animators may have established or are doing. I mean, in production life, I would say it's pretty much the norm.
Everything you do is not yours.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
No matter how stupid you think it is to do it. I mean, what?
And to in fact, to Corey's point, I mean, even on a personal level, I think that those skills and concepts translate across even into personal work. It's right. Like you do, in animation or design or whatever. Of course, you look at other references, you look at other artists, and even in animation, you look at how other animators have solved a specific issue, or they've done something that's worked really well or read really well. And I mean, animation's a lot more difficult to be like, hey, you copied that guy, because it's like, motion is more nuanced. Motion is a really weird, like there's only so many ways you can turn from 0 to 90 degrees, right?
Right, for sure.
But it's the flair and the timing and the squash and the stretch and all that, and the poses and stuff that really give it this type of feel.
Well, I'm sure. Do you see it in your work? Because Jack, you're now in TV animation and Netflix and all that good stuff. So, like, I would suspect that, like, you have to really be mindful and not hitting marks the same as other shows. Or I'm assuming other shows do that to try to get an audience the same. Gravity Falls is totally a certain way of doing things and timing.
Look what happened after SpongeBob and how many copies there were, and then that sort of evolved into Adventure Time, and how many copies there were. I mean, look at what The Matrix did. I would think by far that movie has been copied endlessly. I mean, how many 360 slow-mo, frozen cams did we see? Or the bullet time things, or the leaning over back. Like, there was just so many things in that film that.
And then it kind of crippled. No, try to use that word. Yeah, let's go with it. Then it kind of crippled the action genre for a while, right? Yeah. And I was watching a documentary the other week on that, about, in order for anybody, we go from Transformers to James Bond shooting a fight scene turned into a lot of quick cuts. You got the really good way of doing it, and professional, awesome. This is exciting to watch. Then you got the overly done with, because the actor can't really fight, so it's like really quick. It's like, what's going on? And then there's not a new movie, but there's the movie John Wick, the first one, and no one doesn't know about this one in terms of like the way they did their choreography. I watched a whole documentary on just the choreography and the filmmakers talking about how they wanted to do more wider shots where you see everything. So they had everybody from their cameramen to Keanu Reeves to everyone do training with the actors and with all the stunt doubles and with all, not even stunt doubles anymore, with all the actors and with all the cameramen on set. So all of them went to the gun range. All of them went to choreography class. So you had the cameraman standing right next to you, not doing the same moves, but like doing their moves so that they get the move that you're doing.
Yeah.
Which made that movie, which I have not seen, but which made that movie so much more realistic in terms of like an action scene and a fight scene, because you saw everything. It didn't quick cut away. You saw everything, and it created longer, more intense scenes, they were saying. It made you feel like you're in the action a little bit better, which now I think it's starting to change. So now I think they shot another one. I don't know if that one came out or not, but like you're starting to see a difference, in the next couple of years and how people are shooting it, because everyone keeps talking about how this was shot and how this broke the norm of like quick cuts and stuff like that. So I don't know if this is good or if it's just,
well, I don't think it's neither
like,
good. It's neither good or bad. I think the issue with these types of things is so often is that the copycats don't fully grasp the reason something was done in the first place. They just see, oh, this was extremely successful. Let's just copy that and it'll be great. Mm-hmm. And then that's why you end up with movies like that recent King Arthur garbage, or what was that?
The King Arthur one?
The recent one. You liked it?
I enjoyed that one for some reason. I don't know why.
Or that Battleship movie, right? It's like,
okay, I give it. Okay, yep.
You get these, and they feel like knockoffs, and you don't really know why. And there's actually some really good analyses online about like how these folks like steal shots directly from Michael Bay or whatever. But they're not as successful, and then they sort of break it down why. And so I think the key with a lot of this copycat stuff is they're literally just trying to copy shot for shot or copy a technique without understanding why it's done. And like you were talking about like the quick cuts, and I think that they're not really understanding what quick cutting actually does to the story and does to the pacing and does to your timing. And they just say, oh, it's a fight scene, it's got to be really fast. Well, no, there's been a ton of fight scenes that were done on really long single takes, or really wide takes even. I mean, I think that's one of my favorite things about like the Coen brothers is they like to like pull out and show you this really wide view, almost like you're a distant almost like you're a distant bypasser watching like a crime.
Right. For sure. I mean, I think all in all, like you said, I'm starting to see it's like neither good or bad, but like I guess as any genre develops, they go through these like growing pains. Like you could talk about how an artist develops, and I would say nowadays I've seen an artist develop when I was teaching from doing one really heavily style of being into a heavily type of art or a type of like look or a type of animation, and see them evolve with more information and stuff like that. And you see ones that stay stagnant. I guess the whole thing overall of this, what we're talking tonight, is like pull bits and pieces, but if you keep evolving with more information, you naturally start to become more original in your artwork, and not look for just the quick.
Yeah, I mean,
fixes. Yeah,
I think that's a really good point. Is you use all this information to kind of copycat and to slowly build an understanding of what you're actually doing. But yeah, and the important part is to not get stagnant and get stuck with that. And kind of, like you said, the more info you get, the more diverse your library and your knowledge base is going to become. And then the more you can experiment and the more you can branch out. And then going back to what we were talking about earlier, once you start to understand why certain things are done, then you can learn to break that and deconstruct that. And that's where like where the real art comes from, right? That's like where all these big art movements, Impressionism and Cubism and Surrealism, they all came as like a reaction to what was before them, right? So now we don't like that you've turned everything into little dots and abstract shapes, but so they do the complete opposite and they kind of deconstruct, and it's kind of like that up and down wave. And I think that's really important to kind of do with yourself. It's like you're doing something for a long time, and then you kind of have to step back and say, well, why am I doing that? What purpose does it serve? And how can I push forward and kind of do something else?
And that's the dangerous slope that we have to go down as creative folks, because people always want you to do work like blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So back when I was killing it in Flash terms, everyone always said, do you do anything like too advanced? And I'm like,
oh, the relic.
You know, too advanced is an entire studio.
That thing was referenced. So
man, I think it was referenced.
And then even moving into like graphic design and basically if you're doing any kind of design, people are always saying, hey, can you do something like them? And then that's what creates the trend, right? So now everything is super as far as graphic design goes, everything has a lot of it's heavy photo. And what else? Like 2D animation would be, well, everything seems to be more has that tween animation like Flash has, instead of like the Disney frame by frame type of thing. So copying or learning from someone else, I guess it's fine, but as far as when you're learning, because we just talked about it, we have, if you're making movies, the first thing that your teacher's going to tell you when you go to movie director school is watch movies. And learn how to cut, or when to fade, or when to push, and when to pan, and all that stuff, right? So you have to look, you learn from the masters, and they've figured all of this stuff out. But what happens is, once someone thinks something's cool, then two people are going to think that it's cool, and then now you're trending, and you turn into basically a copycat all over again.
Yeah, and I've heard people say it, and actually one of our guests said it, previous guests said that they try to avoid reading or watching too many films, or try to avoid because they don't want to copy.
I don't remember who said that, but I can't.
And it sounds good on the surface. It sounds like semi-logical.
Soundbite, yeah.
But what ends up happening is that you make all the same choices and the same mistakes that the very first filmmakers or artists or whoever did, right? You have a very uneducated view, unexposed palette, and your work suffers for it. It kind of looks childish, right? Because it.
And then you come out of your
truth. You're totally the truth. And the sad thing is the ironic part is the intent was, I want to avoid copying somebody, but really you end up copying like 90% of the work that's been done. And without even understanding why or how it's evolved, or what, why we've moved past that, or like all that type of thing.
I mean, that's been the soundbite of like every, like, a lot of famous artists that they're online now and been online before. Like, you'll hear a lot of them, and I won't start dropping names like I normally do, but it's I can't stand it because I love going to the movies. I'm the type of person to go to the movies by myself, because in my years of being, with my wife, that shit ran out when we were like dating. She's like, okay, cool, I don't have to go to the movies with you anymore every Friday.
Talking about not dropping names. Your wife is.
I'm a job because she'll tell you, right? She'll tell you like, yo, I don't go to movies no more because we had to go see 2 and 3 at in one setting. I'm like, we're good. I'm done. I'm dead. I will fall asleep unless it's some kind of comedy. That's what she'll tell you. But with that being said, I can't imagine not going to see the stuff that I'm interested in seeing based on what I do for a living. Based on what we learned, what we went to school for, or whatever. Because like, I truly believe you learn more by going to see stuff, and all types of, like you said, Carl said, go see all types of movies. Like, I mean, I think my mother, I'm gonna drop my mother's name today too. I think she got me into like all the old school movies.
You're sleeping outside everywhere tonight.
But no, she got me into a lot of other ones, like all the English ones. Like I was more of we was like a PBS house back growing up. So the Faulty Towers, the Doctor Who and all that stuff. And then you can go even like AMC when AMC was just American movie classics and not like, well, AMC did give us The Walking Dead, but before that, when all they did was play like Humphrey Bogart and all those old school movies all day, and you got the really old school black and white, but you got the really crisp black and white where they almost that color, but they're not yet. You know, you think about it, and just all those like classic things that you would see growing up as a kid, you know, and how those things are shot. I mean, I even watched a breakdown the other month, sometime this past summer, I can't remember when, but there was somebody did a breakdown of the Goonies movie, and what made a good 80s movie from a film director's point of view. I think it was not that the Film Directors Guild, it was something, because like there's something with like 21 or 16 Candles, like the Goonies, all those movies, like the Karate Kid, all those movies, Back to the Future. They
hired all the same kids.
they all though, but they all had like Jack was talking about earlier. They all had a very formulaic way of like shooting, which is why people like watching those movies from a movie going standpoint, you know. And then maybe that's what harkens back to what Jack was saying before about a genre or an artist grows based on the information that they get, you know, and that's how new trends are formed. Well, back in the day, everybody was doing this same type of wholesome or the same type of like movie. Or remember what made you like, it doesn't happen for me anymore, but what made you be like, man, that cliffhanger at the end of every Back to the Future, it always got you at the end, like, let's keep going, you know. Now it's like it's over with because that's over with. But for me, that's the part I love the most at the end of the movie, that cliffhanger.
And I think that's a really good, I think that's a really good comeback to the original question, is like, what is happening in today's time that actually dictates what happens in the movies and in your art and stuff like that, right? Technology has been huge. You know, political things that are happening politically
and socially. Yeah. I guess you would say socially too. Yeah.
So like there's things in the movies that happened, you know, 50, 60 years ago. Insert joke, here comes Noel. There's things that are happening in the movies back then that
totally
you can't get away with these days.
No.
And then I mean, even how people take roles and how actors think about taking different roles. We talked about Scarlett Johansson one of the other weeks and the roles that she's been taking or would try to take, and other actors would try to take, and the outrage that happens. Or like I said, well, kind of as a joke, but I said this is going to be the next 2 or 3 years is going to be the year of the female actor lead, you know, because Hollywood's being more susceptible to putting females in lead roles. And then like at one point, we hopefully get more African American people in roles and stuff like that too. But like at the same time, like all those things go and shift. The key there would be that this keeps happening, and it's not just a fad, but you definitely see a shift in all the different movies coming out. I think YouTube always has like the top 25 movies coming out, and that's where I see all those like trailers, and you start to see a trend when you watch 10 of them in a row of what all is coming out, and what's the notion of what's getting funded and what's not.
Right. And there's a lot of stuff that folks were getting away with back then that they can't necessarily get away with these days.
Right.
There's just a lot of jokes. There's a lot of stuff. For example, like Disney made a lot of money early on because they did a lot of propaganda films for the military.
Kept the doors open for a while.
Yeah.
It was literally like they were almost out of business.
Really? I haven't.
Yeah.
It's part of
the
in between films.
And so the government hired them to make propaganda films, and you know, they used to show these films before you would actually watch a legit movie or a real movie in the movie theaters. And they're talking about how our soldiers took over Normandy and all this other stuff, and we're winning. And it just kept people really pumped up and thinking that, you know, that we were winning, and it kept people wanting to
help.
And you had a lot of people joining the army and stuff because they wanted to help fight the bad guy and protect the country and all this other stuff. And art played a lot in that, and that iconic picture of the lady who's showing her flexing her bicep, and that came from basically American propaganda to get. So basically all the guys were getting sent overseas to fight, and they needed the ladies to fill in at the factories and stuff. And so they would jump in, and to get them going too, they came out with all of this.
Is that Rosie the Riveter?
Rosie the Riveter,
yeah. And so she was the icon for getting women to work and to have pride in their country and pride in themselves. Like, hell yeah, let's go ahead and get this done. So basically that's a very good example of how politics affects the arts. And I'm glad that we came back around to that.
Yeah.
And again, I want to get back on, and I tried to get Jeff Coates and Angie on the show today because they're very vocal in their political stances. I'm very proud of both of them. And their art, if you should follow, I believe Jeff is still Sato Chicken on Instagram. If you're not following him, do yourself another favor. If it's not Jeff Coates, Coates, Jeff is Geoff. Find him and find his work, and then his wife Angie is the 515, THEFIVE, the number 1, the number 5, the 515, right? So they're very political in their artwork, and I asked them to come on the show because I wanted to get feedback from them. So Jeff, he draws cartoons of Trump and all of the shenanigans that he puts out literally every day. And Jeff gets a lot of feedback, whether it's good or bad or indifferent. I wanted to see how he approached it because he gets a lot of really hardcore Trump supporters that really go at him. And he doesn't back down. He's like, whatever. and it's kind of fun to watch his back and forth with the people that are following him. It's really interesting. And again, Angie, she's a feminist, and she's unapologetically, and she's got a lot of really beautiful pins and stickers and artwork and all kinds of stuff. And they're both, like, as a couple, they're both very strong politically, and I wanted to get their views on politics, and it might be a good thing, you know what I mean? There's a lot of comedians that are making a good living off of politics. For example, the guy who took over for David Letterman,
Steve Colbert, the man, the myth.
Like his show was flailing, and then Trump became president or was running for president, and Stephen Colbert like jumped on that, and it revitalized his fan base, and it brought his show back up. And there's a lot of comics out there that are saying that Trump is low-hanging fruit and they don't even want to touch it because literally everyone else is trying to do it. But that's another example of possibly how politics and whatever's happening in today's society is affecting art. And again, the thing that happened in France where they published the picture and everyone was afraid to, well, I can't say everyone, because the very next week, I think it was Texas that had the Drum Muhammad art contest.
I remember
Texas wants that smoke, though. They want.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. And just like they wanted, someone showed up ready to make things happen, and the Texans were like, "No." A woman called me a low-hanging fruit the other day. I took it as a compliment.
Jesus.
Yeah. No. No.
Why, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm ripe for the picking.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Yeah. Comicsgate too. Comicsgate is another thing. Like things that are happening in society, stepping away from politics, and let's just take a look at society. So one of the hot topics in society in general is just the idea of equality. People want a chance to make a living. People want a chance to follow their dreams. They want to be treated the same. And just like Steve said in the chat, Comicsgate, which is basically,
fill me in on that one, because I don't, for some reason I don't know about this one.
Comicsgate is basically ladies being tired of being objectified in comics.
Okay.
Like comic books are like stand-up comics.
Oh, is that right?
No, you're right. It's with comics.
I think
it's with comic books, and
that makes sense.
I haven't heard this one at all. I thought it was gonna be with stand-up comics. I thought it was like people making jokes and stuff.
No, I thought it was so what's okay, so there's Comicsgate, there's is comics, because there's Gamergate. Isn't that might be the one that I'm thinking about.
Similar.
There's
that was a couple years ago. Yeah.
Comicsgate might be like
there's an article.
There's a very well-known comedian. Okay, so it is from the comics, the actual like
but
comics.
There is a thing with comedy right now though too.
There is.
For sure. Yeah.
There is. Like what, I can't remember her name right now. She's super popular.
Saturday Night Live?
Sarah Silverman?
No.
Black girl?
Yeah, she's a black lady, and she was
on The View.
I think she signed a deal with Netflix, but then
Wanda Sykes.
Oh, you talking about Monique? Are you talking about Monique?
Yeah, thank you, Monique.
Yeah, Monique is crazy.
But she,
her, but cool. Yeah, okay, we can do that.
So basically, her stance was she was going to do a special for Netflix, and she signed a deal for a certain amount. But then, it was
just a lower amount.
Not even fair, because Dave Chappelle is just a juggernaut. But there's a couple other people, a couple of other male comics that signed a hell of a lot more money than she got, and she wanted the black community to stand up and cancel their Netflix.
That didn't happen.
Cancel their Netflix memberships because of the disparage.
But she's been doing this a while though too.
Yeah,
because she had it with when she was a Precious, so she's been using her. She won a Oscar on Precious, right? So Monique's been on this like rant for like last 2 or 3 years. She's called out everybody from Oprah to Tyler Perry, and talked about how she's been blackballed and stuff like that. And it basically she just basically felt like she wasn't getting, like Carlos said, she wasn't getting enough money for her Netflix special based on other comics, and she compared herself to Dave Chappelle and a couple other people, which I'm sure there is a issue with women getting equal pay for among celebrities. I think Wanda Sykes had something a while back too, and she didn't get that much for hers or something like that. But Monique, it was a little weird because like she's comparing herself to like blockbuster people that are hot in comics in comedy right now, and she was one of her main claim to fame because she did a whole press tour on all the different radio stations. Was that then she got the Oscar that puts her in a different category, blah blah blah. But to me, it's a little bit like.
But she didn't get comedy, she didn't get she didn't get the Oscar for her stand-up comedy.
Right. So
she acted her ass off to get the Oscar.
Right.
So now when you're making movies, go ask for a lot of money when you're making movies. But then again, you're talking to someone who doesn't understand that game. I'm not an actor and I'm not a comedian, so I don't know how that works.
Right. Yeah, there's been a bunch of, like, if you wanted to look at it more, there's been a bunch of interviews that she's done countlessly on this whole thing. Did the whole thing on the Breakfast Club and stuff like that. Listen to those. And she viscerally calls out people that aren't on her side, and to the point where it's like it's weird. It's a weird way she went about it. But I think there is an issue of that is happening, and stuff like that kind of clouds it a little bit. But it's weird to say the least, because now it's like getting to the point where she's recording conversations and stuff like that, and then like posting them out. I think she recorded whose conversation was it? But whatever. Yeah, it's an interesting one, but it does speak to a larger issue that does happen for that. And to me, it seems like it's an actor crying a little bit over things, based on things that they had done, but that's just my opinion. I don't think it's the same. I don't think you should be comparing yourself to Dave Chappelle or whatever, because I think Netflix also handled it really weird too. Like because of how abrupt they were with like the number they had. Well, this is what we came back, and this is the number we think you'll projectly get. So that's why they only want to pay them for so much. And rightfully so, when you get into cost of like venue and all the other stuff, it wasn't enough, but it's a thing. To say the least. Yeah.
And it's a very hard, if you're an ensemble cast, for example, when Friends was on its heyday, they all got together and they said, we're all going to get paid $1 million an episode.
Yeah.
And they all looked at each other. We good? Can you live off of $1 million per episode?
Yeah.
And they all agreed, and they all went into it. But that's and I'm sure I think there's a couple other shows that did that.
I think so. Yeah.
But yeah, like Noel says, she said, I'm all for people getting paid, etc. But if you're Harrison Ford, you're going to get paid a little more than someone who's new to acting because he's earned it. He's been there. Like, he was in Star Wars. He was in Indiana Jones. He was Indiana Jones. So there's his resume is super heavy, and kind of like what Dave said too, the creative industry is a tough one. If I got to work on comic books for Image Comics, I'm sure I wouldn't get paid as much as Scotty Young.
Yeah, for sure.
And how much of this is the ability to negotiate? Because I wrestle with this too.
Right.
You go to Netflix, and I know that there's some comics that have done it like this, where they go out and they shoot their comedy special and then they take it to Netflix and they try to sell it to Netflix after it's done. Right. So how much of it is you being able to go in there and playing hardball with them, saying, look, I got some magic, you're gonna want this. They watch it, they think it's hilarious, and they say, okay, we're gonna give you, you know, $500,000, but you really wanted $1 million.
Right.
Why not? Go ahead. I was just going to say, why not try to negotiate the higher amount?
Well, you should, yeah, and you should negotiate it. I think that's kind of the point behind all this is, you know, Monique or anybody else is entitled to negotiate more, but the unique thing, and I think people have to understand this, not just acting, but this to some degree bleeds into the art field, particularly fine art. It's like, you know, you in a banking or an accountant role, it's kind of like, you know, we're hiring you, can you do the job? Good, great. But here it's like, particularly entertainment, like a lot of it's on whether or not you put butts in the seats and you sell tickets.
Right.
So, you know what? You're a woman, you're a man, you're white, you're black, you're green, you're a child. It doesn't really matter. If you put butts in the seat, we're going to pay you more.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of, at the end of the day, that's really all they care about, and it sucks in certain situations.
And I think to unpack that a little bit more, I think the problem with getting paid and having the resume to pull more money or to have the opportunity to fill the butts with, or to fill the seats with butts, would be it's been widely known that up until recently, minorities haven't had the opportunity to make movies.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't have the opportunity to make the movies that's going to get you the next big role, now that's where the problem exists.
Right.
Or that's one of the problems.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so if Hollywood is telling you that women don't fill seats, so we're not going to give them the opportunity. Black people don't fill seats, so we're not going to give them the opportunity.
Right.
I think,
but we do.
And that's just it. Like, that's why Black Panther was such a big deal, and not a lot of people understand that. Not a lot of people understand that, given the opportunity, we can fill the seats.
Mm-hmm.
And now everyone that was in Black Panther, now they can pull more money. They can ask for more money.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not the negotiation, it's the opportunities that people have been missing out on up to this point.
Yeah, we're hoping that the higher ups don't just see it as a fad, like I was saying earlier. You know, like, this is not going to change because of the climate it is right now. This would happen if you change the practices, like Jack was saying. If you change it based off of information that you get, you evolve, you know, and everybody can eat a lot better, you know. Because I think sometimes people see something like a Black Panther, right? You see how well it did here domestically first, and then, you know, like, really good domestically here, and then obviously everything else is just icing on the cake, even when they went international. But they see it as like a fad, or they see it as a one-time thing, you know. So but hopefully that's the thing we have to break down, not that, because everybody's like, oh great, look, it was great, it was awesome. No,
that was cute.
What's all the other stuff? Because of that happening, it could happen again and again and again and again. They forget, and this is going to sound like a joke, but it's not. They forget that you have people like Tyler Perry out there.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah. This dude owns half of Atlanta.
Yeah.
And that's I'm not even kidding. Yeah. Like, this dude has a huge movie studio in Atlanta, and all that came from Madea movies.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Like it or not, I mean, Mom watches every one of those.
It's a double-edged sword. But no, and now Atlanta's what, the third largest what is it, production hub now, right? Or third or fourth?
I think so. And people don't realize.
Yeah, I think it's third or fourth now, because there's a bunch of studios or movie sets now there besides Tyler Perry.
Yeah, Atlanta's crushing.
Black Panther was a lot of that was shot there too, on and off. Besides everywhere else, Walking Dead, yeah,
all the Madea movies.
He's gonna keep poking me with
Madea goes to Atlanta.
You have to, because people think it's a joke, but those goofy ass Madea movies.
But then all of the other Tyler Perry
took
movies that
him
he
out
made,
of a
though.
busted car. He used to live in his car, and now he owns half of Atlanta.
Yeah, but there's also all those other, made for black audience movies. All the other movies that he made besides the Madea ones, like all the ones they have big stars in it. Like Idris Elba's in like
a Man,
like 4 or 5 of them, right? Like Idris Elba has a couple of them, a couple good ones, right? Like a couple like tearjerker.
Yeah, but I think what you said, the little small phrase in there is important. A lot of this stuff was viewed as made for black audiences. And that's kind of unfortunately been its nail in its coffin. And it isn't until now, that it also really helps that Black Panther was legitimately a good movie. Like, it was well made. It's one of the better superhero movies.
Right. Young director. Yeah. Yeah.
And it was kind of a perfect storm of really good cast, really good director, good script coming together. And it's not a made for black audiences.
It's the mainstream.
It's mainstream, and I think that is really more going to change it than any Tyler Perry movie would. I hate to say it, but it's the truth, and it's proving that. And this is going to sound really awful, but it's been the truth flipped for so long that a white person can enjoy a movie with a black lead or a black character, right? So long, it's like black audiences have had to watch white characters, and they like these movies just fine. They just wish that maybe once in a while they'd see somebody that looks like them, right?
You didn't want the token one in there,
right? And now it's sort of slowly being proven that the reverse is also true. And that I think is really what will change the industry.
I mean, you got a movie like Get Out, but then based on those climates, someone like Pio can make a movie like that has a black lead in it that's good, and still I would consider that one a mainstream one too. That's a thriller, suspense thriller or whatever. That's really, really good. But yeah, that's the whole notion of the made for black movies, and Carlos mentioned The Best Man and all these other ones. That's still it. And now I think in 2018, as a black male, I don't necessarily cringe, but I'm because there's a whole
cringe at what?
There's a whole 25 actors that we still make the best man type movies still.
Oh yeah.
I guess that genre is still there because now to me it's like a cookie cutter genre unto itself, right? What the numbers will do for these, right? I mean,
for sure.
And they'll keep pushing.
But to be fair, so is the Marvel universe.
Marvel's considered mainstream. It's not. I wouldn't call.
No, I know. Yeah. I know, but they have a recipe that they continue to follow. You know what I mean? So basically, because you have these 25 people that continue to make successful movies, you can't hate on them for that.
No one's hating on them. You miss what I'm saying. Because what I'm saying is it's unlike the Marvel movies who have there is a, I guess you can call that like a cookie cutter thing, even though they've had to change the recipe of what it was in order for it to be around for so long. Just look at the evolution of the Thor movie into what it is now. It's more like a comedy now than like a serious action film. What I mean about the other movies, it doesn't try to be. It doesn't have mainstream appeal outside of the African American community. It's the same type of formula that was in the 90s as it is now, and I think it's a little more nostalgic than relevant at times because it shows a hyper. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know how to explain it, but it's a little bit different, Whereas I want to see those become a little bit more mainstream.
But isn't that
push it forward? So push it forward.
Isn't that what's frustrating? Is they say that like what Corey said in the chat, Catherine Heigl rom-coms. So you're gonna jam all those things. What's that English dude that just continued to make rom-coms?
rom-coms.
He got busted chasing down hookers and stuff.
Yeah.
In real life,
romantic comedies have a thing.
Whatever his name is. So you mean Hugh Grant? You mean to tell me that? So basically, white folks don't feel comfortable watching black folk rom-coms because they don't connect with it. Yet black folks have to watch Hugh Grant running around fumbling and bumbling all about.
I really don't even think the rom-coms are that big. That I don't know. I definitely think it's still different. I definitely think it's still different in terms of how it's shot and how it's done. You could pick out a Tyler Perry movie or any one of those, but I think that's
a style because you can pick out a Spike Lee movie too.
Yeah, all you got to do is have a guy locked to the camera and him traveling.
I think you pick out a Spike. I think you can pick out a Spike Lee movie in the 90s. You know, I would argue that
even now he does the same tricks.
I think he does it once. I think he does it once or twice in the movie. Yeah, for sure. But it goes back to the evolution.
But not even
if I want to look at that,
I'm just talking. I'm talking content alone. So you have a rom-com full of the Hugh Grants and the Katherine Heigls, and then you have the white rom-coms with those guys, and then you have the black rom-coms with it used to be Cedric the Entertainer, Chris Rock,
Nia Long, Boris Chestnut.
The content itself is technically the same.
No, totally the same.
Yeah, it's totally the same. It's very similar.
So that's kind of my point. You're addressing the same exact content or subject matter, but you mean to tell me you feel way more comfortable having white folks telling you the story than black folks telling you the story?
I don't feel comfortable. Don't put words in my mouth.
No, I'm not trying to say you. I'm saying
what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, though a white actor can do those rom-coms and then go do something else, so it's not the same. Black actors have gone out to do other things, and they have not hit the same way. Tyler Perry tried to do an action film based off a really good selling book, and it didn't hit. So I'm saying if we want to change it a little bit more so that you can have those same opportunities, we have to figure out how we can not make it look like it's just a black romantic comedy. It needs to be more like a romantic comedy. From a different perspective, but by putting the race with it, it hampers it a bit.
And that brings up another question, I guess, is budget one of the reasons why?
I don't think so anymore because they're big budgets now.
Yeah,
especially if you throw a Kevin Hart or something else.
What was the full question?
Is the budget the issue of why there's these two?
Is there a disparity? Is there a difference in quality because of budget?
I'd say back in the day, maybe, but not anymore though, because those movies they make them.
Because look at again,
and they're big budgets, like a Best Man. Or
granted, Tyler Perry didn't make Black Panther, but.
I'm waiting for that Medea as Black Panther superhero movie.
But bear in mind, any movie that I think they've been pretty big budgets though. That's the messed up part about it, because I don't think that's the issue anymore. I don't even think it's the issue about them making their money back anymore. It might just be socially and what people perceive, which. Hopefully with other ones, not necessarily meaning you have to do a mainstream comic book movie, but it's sad to say that I keep going back to the one that Jordan Peele did with the Get Out, it just showed a different level of he doesn't have to be in this one genre because they don't call, because actors can come and go into any one of these things. But I feel like, when it comes to Black romantic comedies or something like that, they get stuck in those, but they shouldn't be. They shouldn't have to be stuck in those,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not even going to get into Latino movies because outside of telenovelas, exactly. Explain to me.
Come on.
When was the last? Well, let's see. When was the last time Jennifer Lopez?
I was gonna say I've seen J-Lo in a whole bunch of movies.
No, not anymore though. It's been a while.
And most of those are rom-coms. The Maid Next Door or whatever the hell it was.
The one where she basically Cinderella story one.
Yeah, it was the Puerto Rican version of what is that, Lady in Red or what was it?
Pretty Woman.
Pretty Woman, yeah. Puerto Rican version of Pretty Woman.
But even those though are not labeled the Latino rom-com.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, after Ricky Ricardo.
Yo, you went way back.
That's kind of my point.
But Ricky was mainstream though, wasn't he? Would you consider
totally mainstream?
I Love Lucy. Like you get so technically you guys
they made movies too, though, right?
Yeah.
So technically, you guys went backwards.
Yeah, like besides him, like Made in Manhattan. Thank you, Noel. Steve says big studios barely care about American market. Barely care about American market, much less POC. I'm not sure what POC.
Explain.
Anyway, I'm very hesitant because there was another topic that we were going to get into, but if we get into that, can we do like another half hour, or should we get into artist inspiration?
I have to save it.
People of color. Oh, yeah, there you go. Thank you, Steve. So he said, big studios barely care about American market, much less people of color.
But that's what we're saying. What we have seen.
Noel is going to get maced.
I like Noel. But we've seen it. That shit that they should know. Like the last 2 years should have proved that at this point. Not even off Black Panther, just in general, like the wave that's been going right now should have proved that they put. If you want money, if you want, what's the word? If you want butts in the seats, at this point.
Yeah, I mean, look at
like Netflix side of things.
Look at
Rock.
The Rock is the highest, the highest paid actor. Kevin Hart is killing literally everything that he.
I think Kevin Hart's made his movies his own genre now. Just the Kevin Hart movie.
The Kevin Hart genre, yeah.
The Rock too now, because like after they did pretty well with Jumanji, I'm like, okay, cool. These two dudes are like making their own like comedic genre. I never thought that Jumanji was going to do that good at the box office, but I guess it did decent.
It was actually really good. Did you see it?
I keep hearing it. No, I didn't get to see it.
It was actually really good.
You were like the 12th person to say, yo, that was kind of fun to go watch.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to like pick a Sunday and watch it.
Yeah.
And laugh at them too. Ad-lib their way through a movie.
Yeah. It was really fun. Yeah. Anyway. I agree. Kevin Hart and Rock are funny as hell.
If you want to follow their Instagram, follow those two Instagrams because they're hilarious.
And one of the smart things that Kevin does, because Kevin and I are friends on first name basis.
Back up what?
Hashtag just kidding.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
No, but Kevin Hart. Hart.
I keep hearing the pleasantly surprised thing. Corey's the same thing. Okay, go ahead. Kevin Hart, it's your buddy.
Kevin Hart, when he signs for a movie, they said, "All right, cool. So now that you signed on this movie, you go ahead and tell your Instagram followers." He goes, "No. That's extra.
Oh, he does. He said
Yeah.
that. That's interesting.
Yeah. So like he's got
tweet
what
it
is
out.
that?
He'll just do it for free though.
I think his production company is like Heartthrob or something like that.
Yeah, it's like Heart, something Heart.
Smartest thing Kevin could do is restraining order against Carlos.
So wait, back up. So like he's gonna post out whatever movie he's on anyway, but now he has broken into his contract that when he posts, he gets a kickback from the movie house.
No, he's not gonna send it out.
Well, yeah, he's not. And then that's why the movie,
but like he just put into his contract that he's gonna get paid when he actually does it. Because it
has to be a completely different agreement.
That's what I'm saying. That's cool.
If he signs to do a movie, they're expecting him to go on Instagram and talk about the movie. He goes, "No, that's your job."
Yeah.
So then what he did is he started his marketing company. And so when you sign to have Kevin Hart on a movie,
it's a 2-part deal. Yeah.
It's a 2-part deal. Mm-hmm. That's okay. So now there you go. You're in the movie. And then you have to sign with the marketing company to access the Instagram followers.
Yeah. And that's interesting because Kevin said to himself, every actor is going to promote a movie that he's doing anyway, but I might as well get paid when I do this since I do have such a big Instagram following.
Right. Because that's a job in itself to get on Instagram and talk about this and do all that and pushing all this, right? Because there's a lot of people making money. Think of it like this. There's a lot of people making money. Once you get to a certain level, I don't know what it is, you're considered an influencer.
Yeah.
And so there's people making money on Instagram just taking, they'll put on a certain shoe and then they're like, oh, check out these shoes, la, la, la. So there's people making money doing that. So that's what he's like, well, if they're doing it, I got millions of followers. I'm going to do that too.
I just want to say to the internet, I'll be an influencer. You can send me all the shoes you want or software. I will tweet about it. I will tweet about it all the time and Instagram live it. We will have demos and videos. It'll be great. Just get at me. No, yeah, that's
talking about smart. Jumanji.
No, because Jumanji had a whole rollout. That makes sense now. Like, I think because I follow Kevin Hart and The Rock, they were like on the hour almost, like posting weird, funny things from set.
Yeah,
it's probably why he did even better. Like, but it's funny that it was actually a good movie too.
Or like the one they were in London, I want to say, and Kevin had I think it was his limo pulled up, and he was bragging about how big it was. Ha ha ha! Look at this! Look at this! And then the Rock's limo pulled up, and it was one of those 2 double-decker buses, and it had a big ass picture of the Rock on it. He's like, "Yeah, little man, go ahead and take your little car on." It was so funny.
They did it all summer. Like it felt like yeah. Oh, that's good. Okay. Well, that's smart on his part.
Yeah. So Tiny Kevin is killing it. He can wave his feet all he wants as he's sitting on that big pile of cash. His feet are dangling like this.
Wow, that's so funny. It's 2018 when someone says, "I thought Jack Black could have been a little funnier."
Yeah, and that's just it. Like Jack Black Black.
He had to want to be in that movie. I was like, oh, man, they made him a girl, really? Okay.
It was funny though the way they handled that. Oh my god, it was so funny.
That's why I'm surprised she said that's the first person I've heard say like he wasn't as funny in that spot. Don't be ruining it for me, Noel, because I've heard nothing but good things. Oh, good. I don't want that anymore. So,
yeah. He was very much Jack Black, but at the same time, he wasn't necessarily one of the lead actors. He was.
I'm not in that position. There you go, Kevin. Have it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rock.
But it was fine. I mean, his role was fine. It didn't ruin it. If anything, it made the movie a little funnier. But yeah,
gosh darn it, now I gotta go watch this.
yeah, you'll like it.
It's or I gotta just order it.
All right. So now that we've beat that to death, you guys want to get into?
Whoa, Charlie got excited. We got a woo.
All right, so I'm in a Sketch Zone browser. So on Coconut Justice, I am actually following this person. I believe it's a company named Plastic Cell.
Okay.
And
I've heard of
Celebrity Toys.
I've seen these.
These toys are so ridiculous. This is she's a comedian. She has a Netflix special. Ali Wong, that's what it is.
Yeah, her pregnant stand-up.
And her last stand-up, she was like very pregnant. She was that pregnant. And she killed it.
Good to do that, like stand-up.
And there's Bruce Lee.
Ooh, there's a lot of
Bruce Lees. Woo! Wow!
Pro tip, 3D artists, there is a really good industry if you want to make figurines and toys now. It's like,
but I want to come down a little bit. This is the one that caught my attention. When you guys see it, I think you guys are. Well, here's Pharrell. This is
that big old hat with that big old hat.
Good. That hat is like hip hop.
I love the proportions. They're kind of like children, but with big heads.
It's
really good though. That Pharrell one is really good.
Yeah. But wait, because the one that attracted me to them is coming up.
Because now I just get 3D artists and model these. This is great if you're a character artist and you want to do this.
Oh, this is a good one too.
That's a good one too. Samson?
No.
Caesar.
Caesar
is home.
Yes.
Here we go. Here we go. Where did it go? Oh man, it was right.
Come on now.
I saw the teaser. Oh, here you go. This isn't the one I'm looking for, but you got The Walking Dead, folks. You got It, the Joker.
Anyone's?
The It one is creepy. I don't care. Any rendition of It, I don't think I really will ever see that movie.
Here it is.
Creeps me out.
Here it is.
Joe Rogan.
Oh, yeah. That's good. I like that one. That's good.
Look at those little chunky arms and legs.
So good, man. Look, they gave him hairy legs too.
He's got this little kettlebell.
That is good.
He should have put a joint in his other hand.
Yeah, right. A handful of mushrooms
on its shirt. That's great.
God, that's hilarious.
So good.
So yeah, if you guys go to Instagram.com/ it's a very weird combination of letters. PHUONGTRVN. You'll see what we're talking about. Is a bunch of these really cool little sculpts. And hey, if you're using like Mudbox or what's the other one? ZBrush. This is a really good place to go and get some inspiration and just sculpt.
For real, yeah.
A lot of artists are making really good money. I think Odell can tell you about this stuff too, like off of this.
These are so good, so clever, so unique. So yeah, bust open ZBrush and go to work. They actually give you some nice rotations too. There's videos that show.
Really? Nice.
Look at Biggie.
Oh, it's so good. That is
and
so
another
good. One. Whoever's taking the shot too, they could have put them outside with the outside lighting. Is great too.
You think this toy wheezes like the real one did?
You're so crazy.
Mouth breather.
Look at it. We got Tupac.
This guy is like well versed in all of culture.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you even have Conor McGregor. Yeah. Oh, and this is one of the Diaz brothers back here.
Yeah.
Gotta say though, his Negan missed the mark.
Which one?
That's
Negan?
That's not what that actor looks like.
Unless he's going off of the comic book. Oh, look at.
Oh, look at that one. That one's good. They did better with Ice Cube.
West Side.
That's
so
funny.
Yeah.
Who's the artist though? Did they shout his name out?
No, I think it's this dude though. I think it's this guy.
Is he in that? Is he in one of those bubbles, sir? Because on one of those like ads. Because I'm sure he has a great portfolio.
I don't know who this is, but this one is hilarious.
Oh,
Martin Lawrence.
That's the cop, that silly cop with the White Sox he used to be.
That's right. Oh, look at.
Who is that? Now, what is that?
7?
Stranger Things.
That's from Stranger Things?
11, right?
11, yeah, not 7. 7-11.
That's what happens when you have too many big gulps.
Mm-hmm. Get a bloody nose.
So yeah, and then you get into all the creepy stuff. So yeah, we'll have the link in the show notes.
Cool.
Instagram.com/
good share.
UONGTRVN. Get it in your life.
Whoa.
Whoa. Pause. Charlie, you feel like sharing?
I do. Boom. Terry Way. It's from China. Concept artist. I like this dude's style.
He's a Mexican guy. Terry Way.
Jesus.
Yo, where's the crickets? You don't bring that back. Anyway.
Come on. Anyway.
Yeah. All right, so check out his style. It's really cool, interesting. I like it.
It's a very similar approach. The cartoony, the the proportions are super exaggerated.
Yeah, it kind of evolves over.
Sexy pose. See, Steve understands what I'm saying. Steve said, "I weigh."
Oh gosh. Yeah. But he goes into a lot of different other styles, but the painting is still kind of the same, you know.
Yo,
the kid from Mad TV.
Is that 3D or is that Photoshop?
These are all drawings.
It's
all painting. Yeah, all painting. Yeah.
God,
I love this like series he's doing, which is just swag. But I like this one. This is pretty cool. This is like background worthy. Nice. And he got some of these guys here.
I saw a little Clint Eastwood in there. I
see
you, boo.
Look at this one.
I wait. Oh, no, those are turkey. Hey, look, he did his chicken in
his retro chicken
pantry.
Yo, it's the
pantry.
That's cool. Took me a minute to understand what was going on there.
It's ostrich. Yeah, he didn't know what was going on.
That's cool character.
I thought he got pervy, but he didn't.
This needs to be like a game or a show. Like,
look at this.
These like animal western killer guys.
Look at this one.
That dude. That's
a tough vest. That's a tough vest.
Yes, the fat yellow bird.
Look at the little one.
Super aggro.
What's he got in his can? He's killing some worms.
It's a worm. He's like, dude, I'm not supposed to be here. Look at all these other little ones. I want him to color. I want him to just do all these, man. I was cracking up. And then he goes back to series. Here we go.
Yeah,
that is so weird.
He's like, just in case you thought I was all cute and stuff. Here's some of the fire.
Because our station puts the newest things they posted up, and when you start going down, it just starts to change, and you're like, "Whoa, where are we going now? We're in a different style." What's the time period? This is posted 5 months ago. You know, so this is where he was at 5 months ago. So he's more cartoony lately. This is 3 months ago. We're going back 6 months ago. So he was on this like other weird thing. But if I go down farther to finish up, look at this.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
So that reminds me, I was in Tahoe for a while this last week, and I took a karaoke machine up there, and
you have a traveling karaoke machine.
Some kids showed up, so I wasn't able to do gangster rap anymore, and so they had me singing Disney show tunes. Hashtag nailed it.
Oh, God. Well, look at this. Here we go. Let's change again.
Dang. That's style flexibility for that behind, man. Because
look at this one.
He went from realistic, I'm about to eat your children, to funny.
Yeah, look at his legs. It's like he's got little high heels.
Oh, look at the like weird animated thing in the corner. It's like spinning up. What does it say?
He's like popping up out of the ground because he's like a turnip or something. So stupid. It's great. I love it. Cracked out bunny. Oh my. Like this chameleon's just like up to no good. Look at this. Dude, this dude's like, I was laughing this week when I found this. I was like, yo, you want to switch it up again? Here we go. Boom.
Boom. Real AF.
It just doesn't seem real. Okay. There's depth to my skill set.
Are you not entertained?
Look at this.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, you think,
he does all of this? He does all of this blindfolded.
Right. You think, oh, this is just another random
That's Salvador Dali. Look at that.
But then like we just go in, and one of my favorite painters, I tried to show a different colors photo study.
That's amazing.
You know, it's just like this dude
had
layers. This is Tracer from this fan art. Tracer from Overwatch video game. Look at this,
Brando.
Marlon Brando. Oh, yeah.
Oh, when we get off of the show, remind me to tell you a Marlon Brando story.
Okay. And then to round it out, we got some like mobile style art. Yeah, I feel like I see this in every mobile game that gets made. But look at this dude here. There's so many gems that make me laugh. This is rare in this artist inspiration this week. That like that's why I'm showing you so many of them, because like I scrolled through all of this stuff, and this dude, I don't know whatever game this is, but I'd play this game.
Right.
He's got like a Mega Man arm.
What this character is supposed to be, but it's funny.
But he's got a problem with you.
He got like a cape and a sombrero with a feather in it.
Look, he's got a skull on the back. And it is a game. And it's top down. I want to play this. I don't know what it is, but and boom, here we go. Back to some WoW style World of Warcraft type stuff. Yeah, ending on that. But that's his name.
Cool.
Terry Way. Check him out. He's good. Artstation.com/Waylay.
Drop that link.
/iWay.
iWay.
That's a good one, Chuck. I like it.
Thank you.
All right.
What I do.
We kind of were all on the same brainwave.
So
Zach had the good ones. I know he's
Ocean the Bard.
Yes.
Oh, Jack.
This is real weird, but I really love it. It's kind of like it's 3D, but it's got like a really bizarre style to it.
Jack, look at the dead eyes. Is that the dude in my closet?
I think it is.
I feel like if you like put your ear up to his face, you just hear wind.
He's definitely got some game stuff too.
So this is 3D. It's not. This is not. 2D.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think maybe he paints on top of it a little bit, but yeah, it says it's a sculpture.
I would love to see him rotate this. I feel like there's nothing behind it.
And you know what's crazy?
That's cool, Baby Cthulhu.
I was his 269th follower.
I know he doesn't really have much of.
Wait, back up. Did you say Blender?
Yeah, this is Blender.
That means he's using the internal sculptor. Coming a long way, Blender. Blender's due for a big update.
What's an internal sculptor?
They have like ZBrush type style. Like they have like a really nice sculpting engine inside of ZBrush, outside of Blender. You know, it's not. You know, you can sculpt like ZBrush in Blender if you want, and go back and forth between.
So Steve pointed out that spooky looking kid with the no eyes, that's a Corey Loftus drawing.
It looked a little familiar.
Okay.
I'll try to find bringing it around to the original topic. He's
it is. Yeah.
But this is like super graphical 3D stuff is really cool too.
Yeah, I would like to see what he does. So he's really painting over these things. Oh. It was animated.
I don't know if he is, because it sounds like he uses a lot of Blender, which has like grease pencil and all those
yeah, you're true. Yeah, so you can get that graphic
2D stuff. So I'm not entirely sure how he's getting this stuff. But like, man, he goes even in with hair, like super detailed hair.
Telling you, I'm waiting on this revamp with Blender. Not revamp. They're just doing the UI again. I'm hoping this new, like whatever they're cooking on that. Was it 3.0? I think. Whatever it is.
This is.
Please fix your hotkeys, Blender, so I can use you more.
Brian Lang drawing.
Because all the tools are there for Blender. It's just that hotkeys. They're just technically it's too much. It's too much in Blender. That's why they have to figure out how to make it all work together. But they get these hotkeys going. I'm impressed with all the Blender artists always.
Yeah. So he doesn't have a lot of stuff,
but it's all good.
He's pretty good, and he's add to his following, folks. It's Ocean the Bard.
That's a name for you too. Like he went super like medieval. He called himself a bard. Look it up if you know what it is.
I'm looking around to see if I can find the original drawing, but Corey Loftus, number one, is amazing. Yeah. Number two has a ton of work.
I bet you it's like was it Instagram or something like that.
Yeah.
Like daily.
Anyway, hey Charlie, if people are looking for you online,
I'm in a couple different places. You can find me on Instagram. I'm on there a lot now. Instagram.com/CharlieBW3. You can find me at my website, cargocollector.com/CharlieBWilliams. I was gonna say something different. No, not yet. I'm lazy. You can find me at Pinterest, Pinterest.com/CharlieBW3. All inspiration like what you just seen today, and tutorials and mood boards and stuff. I mix it in with stuff I do for work and stuff like that, and how we put together decks and stuff. So check that stuff out too, and how we get inspiration from those things. Get in your life.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. How about you, Jack?
I'm at sketchbookjack.com and Sketchbook Jack pretty much everywhere else.
Excellent. Thank you. And I'm Carlos Gomez. You can find me at coconutjustice.com, Coconut Justice everywhere else. And you can find us pretty much every Thursday at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here. And you will also see people like Noel, like Steve.
Yeah.
Corey was here. Shiloh was here. Dave,
some new unknown people.
Yeah,
Deftones was here. There's a bunch of Pat Mass came. Who else? Joey Wall. What's up, Joey Wall?
What up, Joey?
And there's a bunch of other folks. So yeah, so if you come, you see how we do. We try to include you in the conversation too.
Yo, Corey Loftus is crazy. Check out that link.
Corey Loftus is bananas, dude.
Drew Blanche from Golden Girls as a mermaid.
Yeah.
Go chill.
Yeah. Okay. So Corey Loftus is amazing. So this was episode 156.
56, yeah.
So if you go to sketch.zone, you will see all the other 155 other episodes. We've talked to so many amazing people. Every once in a while, we just get together and we hash out some of the things that have been happening, and that's kind of what happened today. We wanted to take some time to address some of the things, and we don't want to pollute our conversation getting to know some of the artists. So what we do is we don't invite anyone and we just have at it.
Just freestyle it. What?
Freestyle. But yeah, if you go to sketch.zone, you'll see we're pretty much everywhere. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, obviously. We're on Twitch, obviously. If you're watching on Twitch, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you're that's up there somewhere. And if you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button that's down there somewhere. And then if you're on YouTube, click the little bell that's next to the subscribe button, so you'll be alerted when we go live. Like I said, we try to be here every Thursday night. What was I going to say? Oh yeah. If you're on Instagram and you want to show off your work, this week's fun prompt is, that's old. So I'm going to come back over here. It's a retro chicken in a pantry. Retro chicken in a pantry. And when you share it on Instagram, make sure that you tag us. So then that way we can find it. Noel is still, she's getting them in. She wants to make sure she gets all her cuts in for the 2 week for last week since we weren't here. So yeah, make sure that you tag us so we don't lose your artwork, so then we can share it in the beginning of the show like we did this show and every show. Let's see, Instagram.com/sketchzone podcast. But if you go to sketch.zone, you'll see the links to everything there. And if you can't catch us live, you can always catch us on your favorite podcast catcher. Anything like Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play Music, and of course iTunes. You can find us there, and a bunch of other ones too. I subscribe to a bunch of these services, and I forgot which ones I've done. So like sometimes people will be like, "Hey, are you on this?" I'm like, "I don't know," and I go and I look, and I'm like, "Yeah,
we're there."
So anyway, that's it for us, guys. Everyone have a good week.
See you guys.
See you.